You read the title. I recently became a Christian. By recently, I mean like, I think Saturday or Sunday. And it's Tuesday right now, so just a couple days ago. And you're probably like, I thought she was already a Christian. Well, I thought I was already a Christian too. And so that's why I want to talk about it in today's video. My brothers and sisters, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Andy. Okay, I am saved and I am so happy. I am full of joy. The joy of my salvation is here. Now, I've been saved for quite a few years, okay, but I recently have become a real deal Holyfield Christian, okay, and I'm so excited. So let me explain. I plan to make a whole video about my testimony at some point, so I don't want to say too much, but basically I got saved in high school, and so this is not to be confused with being saved, because those are different things. But I got saved in high school. God came to me when I needed him so badly, and you know, that was amazing. I really accepted God, and I would pray to him, and I was just obsessed with him. And I remember praying back then, like, please never leave me, Lord. And God is so faithful. He has never left me. There was a point in time where I left God. I completely turned my back on God for years, like a couple years, like from the time I was 21 to the time I was, well, it was actually when I was 20 up until just last year, so 24. So about 3 to 4 years I kind of completely turned my back on God, and it was so sad when I realized what I had done. But you know, God is faithful and he never casts away anyone who comes to him. So you know, he never, it's not even like he had to take me back with open arms, because he never left his arms around me, and that's very clear to me when I look through what happened in those 4 years. Now, I say all that to say I got back into my relationship with God last year, and I want to talk about how that happened because it was very beautiful. And I went from being kind of like new age and spiritual to actually loving God. Like, I was somebody that used to make fun of Jesus. I used to make fun of people that said they were Christian. I would poke at them and just say stupid little things. And now I am somebody who is like 100 miles per hour Christian. Like, I absolutely just love God so much. Jesus Christ, okay, the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, my Savior. So when I got back into my relationship with God, there really was kind of this day where I felt like I had heard God again for the first time in 4 years. And I didn't really ask for it. Somebody had recommended like this political video, and the politician in the video or whatever, he was talking about spirituality, and he was kind of talking about the end times, like prophecies or whatever about like with the United States, blah blah blah. And it just really was like this day where it kind of reminded me of what it was like whenever I was young and I was a Christian and I believed in God. It was, I basically heard a sermon again for the first time in 4 years, and I had this day where God really, it was like he looked me in the face and he said, look, you know who I am. You came to me at one point, like, you know who I am. You know I'm real. Are you going to deny me for the rest of your life? Is this what you truly want? Like, do you really want to ignore me and deny me and pretend that you're your own God and that you can do things on your own? Because if so, you can. But you know who I am. My power is real. I've always been here. So what are you gonna do? So it was basically like this turning point for me, and I literally like a snap of my fingers, I ran back to God in that moment, and I was like, I don't know what I was doing. Like, I don't know why I wanted to be that way. It kind of was like a slippery slope. Like with new age stuff, it started out one way and then it just went further and further down. And so I ran back to him, but you know, it was kind of hard when you first get back into it. And I have this beautiful testimony about how after that happened, you know, I started to like listen to more sermons again and tried to go back to church and was trying to like get close to him again and reteach myself and get rid of all these nasty new age things that I have put into my brain. But it was hard for me to really trust and love God, and I was honest with him about that. And I have a beautiful testimony about that, so I don't even want to get into that, but just months later, I really was in like such a loving place with God. And so it's not easy always being a Christian. It's not easy always trusting God and believing in miracles and believing in the Bible and these 4,000-year-old words, you know what I mean, and these 2,000-year-old books. But so as time progressed on throughout the year, like I think it was probably around April-ish that I got back in my relationship with God, April 2020. And by October 2020, I got baptized for the very first time in my life. It was beautiful. I'm so happy to do it. It just felt like the right thing to do, you know, it felt like the next step to take. And, you know, that was that. But one thing that I would struggle with and that I was afraid of and just kind of doing wrong was being a Christian. Now, there's no correct way to be a Christian, so take this with a grain of salt, and I just want to convey like a certain story of my life, and maybe that'll help you and you'll get something out of it. So I wasn't being like a quote-unquote Christian. I was kind of afraid. Like, I was afraid that, you know, I didn't look the part, I didn't dress the part, I didn't speak the part. Like, I was just afraid that I wasn't honestly going to be like a good representation of God. I was afraid to go around Christians and be in churches and get involved because I was afraid that, you know, the way I looked was going to be an issue, the way I dressed was going to be an issue, the way I speak. I'm a recovering cuss addict. Okay, I cuss a lot. I've always cussed a lot. I don't anymore, you know, in Jesus' name. We're putting that on my life. But it's something I'm recovering from. So I was just really afraid, you know, that I wasn't doing it right. And this fear progressed and progressed, and I never really took accountability for the fact that I was kind of being a coward. Like, why was I so afraid of these things? So anytime I would be around Christians, I would always start making excuses. I'd be like, you know, I'm new to this, like, I've never lived this way, I didn't grow up Christian. Like, I would start defending myself for no reason, like, as soon as I would walk into these places. And I kind of held myself back a lot too, and I would even act out of like rebelliousness sometimes, because I would get invited to things like Christian things, and I wouldn't have anything to wear because all my clothes were like more, I don't know, what's the word, secular, I guess. Like, I didn't have the right wardrobe, my clothes were a little too skimpy, and I'm also somebody who has a little bit of a chip on my shoulder for the way that I look. Like, sometimes I feel like because I am pretty that people get mad at me for no reason, or people look at me in the wrong ways for no reason. And so I try to like make myself small a lot of the times, and this was just like period, like regardless. So especially when it came to like going to church, I just felt like everything I wore, like nothing was really, like everything was doing too much is what I felt like. Like, I just felt like I stuck out like a sore thumb, and I felt like, you know, I was a whore like going to church, you know what I mean? I don't know. Even though I wasn't even dressing, like this was literally all in my head. Like, I would just wear normal stuff, and I still like would just get so upset. So sometimes I would act out in rebellion and like kind of wear certain things to church just to be like, look, I can be here and wear this and still be a Christian and still love God just as much as you, and still have this great relationship with God, because that's how I feel. Like, I do have a great relationship with God no matter what, regardless of, you know, what we wear and stuff. And so it took me a long time to like kind of break myself of these things, and thankfully, like, I have actually fallen in love with modesty, and I'm learning how to do it. And, you know, like, I'm buying some simple new clothes that just make me look and feel more comfortable in church, you know, because no matter what, like, it doesn't matter what you wear to church, but if you show up to church in a crop top and booty shorts, you're gonna feel uncomfortable. Like, that's just, it's just like wearing a bathing suit to Target. Like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like, it's just not the place for that, okay? Even though it's fine in certain other situations, you know, and it's all a journey after all. Like, nobody is truly hating on anybody for what they wear, okay? Anyways, that was kind of a tangent, but basically what I'm trying to say is I had this chip on my shoulder that I wasn't really a Christian. I was too new to be like a real Christian. So like, I'm kind of a Christian, but like also I still wanted to like be this person that I was before. Like, I wanted to put out that kind of image, you know. I still wanted to be an entrepreneur and still wanted to be a beautiful woman and still be a Christian as well. Like, I wanted all these things to work together, and they do, but the thing with God is you always have to surrender to God. So like, it's not like I'm an entrepreneur and you know, a pretty girl that dresses however and a Christian. No, it's like, I'm a Christian, period. Like, above all else, I love God, I serve God, I surrender to God, I'm obedient to God. He is the foundation. I pray that He interferes in every single thing that I do. So like, that needs to be your above. And then it's like, okay, if you are that and there's entrepreneurship in here, you know, you can maybe influence people with your style, like whatever. but like you just have to have that foundation. And so this has kind of snowballed now to, it is now September 2021. It's the end of September, so it's actually about to be a year since I got baptized. October 4th was the day that I got baptized. And this attitude of like, I'm not really a Christian, I'm not a confident Christian, it kind of has just snowballed, and it's gotten me into some trouble. Like, I definitely am a Christian. I've been a Christian for a while now, and I've been really trying to play the part better and you know, be a good representation of God, because that's a great thing. Like, it's a great thing. Don't let people victimize you, okay? Nobody's being oppressed here, okay? Like, it's a great thing to look and act like a Christian should, you know, or like a disciple would. I think that's a better way to say it. Like, the disciples, they gave their life to God, and they weren't looking fleshly, they weren't acting fleshly, they weren't out here cussing and making scenes, you know? So it's a good thing to act like a disciple or a Christian or whatever you want to call it. So I'm like trying, and I moved to this new place, which is what this background is. If you know me, if you've seen any of my other videos, it's kind of blank right now because I just moved in, so I still have like some furniture to get and stuff, but this is my little filming spot, which I'm so blessed. This is a blessing too. But I started going to this new church, and I was afraid again, and I started off doing the same thing, like, hey, I'm new to this, like I didn't grow up like this, I never had anyone to be a Christian example in my life, which is true, but you know, I was like using that defense again, and sometimes that was also an excuse as well. Like, I would use that excuse to kind of do things a little differently. Like, if I cuss, or if I, you know, was doing something that maybe I knew that I shouldn't be doing, because God is in here, okay? The Holy Spirit is in here. I get convicted all the time. Do I still make mistakes? Yes, but we all do, and that's normal. But you know, I felt like I had kind of this little excuse, right? So I was using it as a defense, and it was kind of distancing me in ways, and it also was getting me in trouble because I had a moment this weekend where I completely decided to surrender to God, and I've had these moments before, you know, and that's what's gotten me here, thankfully. But this was like another step where I had to surrender again. And the one thing that kind of popped into my head while I was doing this was that I'm not a new Christian anymore. I'm not acting like a Christian anymore. I am a Christian. Like, I am a representation of God. I am here for the kingdom. I'm here for God's use. I'm here to help others. I'm here to look the part and be the part and not confuse people of what is good and righteous in God's eyes. So I really had that moment where it just really hit me, like, I'm not gonna make these excuses anymore. So I say all this to say, be bold as a Christian. Like, be a real Christian, no matter what your upbringing was, no matter how long you've decided to follow Jesus. Be bold in the fact that you are a Christian. Like, I'm gonna go out and tell people I'm a Christian. That is gonna be my defense now. Like I said, I was getting into some trouble. I recently made a huge mistake, and it hurt me so bad. I cried, and I cried for days over it because I was just so ashamed of my sin, and I was so I felt so bad because God blesses me so abundantly, and I love him so much. And for me to just like completely sin when I knew better, when I knew I shouldn't have been doing this, and people were even telling me like, oh, do Christians go here? Like I have friends that kind of make fun of me a little bit. And I remember I was gonna tell them, like, look, if you don't say anything, then it's not an issue. But when you make me answer your question, like, should Christians be going here? Like, what do you think I'm gonna say? Like, I don't have an answer for that. Just stop bringing it up. Just let me do what I want to do, you know? So I would kind of get into trouble, and I did get into trouble. I exactly got into trouble that night. All the conviction, all the warnings did not stop me. I went and I sinned, and it was very sad, and it broke my heart. And I'm like, what the heck? And at this point, like, I had just been going to class, like little Christian Bible study class, church on Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then the very next day was a Sunday. So I like got up and I ran to church. Like, first of all, I made a mistake, and I was like, I'm not gonna try to hide. I'm not, like, I need God. Like, I need God so much. So I did get over it, thankfully, and I want to make a video about like how to recover from sin, but basically, like, I was using it as an excuse, and I wasn't standing up for the fact, like, I had told these people that I was with that night when I committed the sin that I was Christian before and I didn't want to do these things, but I didn't stick to it, and I still wanted to be cool, and I still wanted to not be looked at like weird or whatever. And I put my Christianity aside, and I didn't want to be a Christian that night. And even though I did, like, I still love God. Like, it wasn't like I truthfully didn't want to be. I just wanted to like also be something else. So I hope this made sense. I know this is kind of rambly and I don't want to make too long of a video out of this, but be a Christian and be a bold Christian. Don't be afraid to be a Christian, okay? Say it with your chest. Say no to these bad things with your chest. You know, if you're getting any sort of conviction from it, if you just know it's wrong, say it with your chest. Be like, no, absolutely not. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm a Christian. Like, I'm a Christian. You all know what that means. Like, whatever. People might judge you. They might think you're oppressed. They might think that Christianity, because you're saying no to something because you're a Christian, it means that Christianity has a bunch of rules that they have to follow and like you have to be good enough. Like, no, that's not it at all. And people can say that or get the wrong opinion, but here's the thing. When you're actually bold about what you do and you are what you say you are and you act the way you're supposed to act, people actually respect that. Like, there might be something in them that in that moment kind of is irritated, but the truth, people are gonna respect the truth. And we live in this culture that has kind of, you know, made everybody feel bad about speaking the truth and speaking their opinions and being who they are because they don't want to offend anybody. And it's actually quite toxic because now nobody feels like they can say what they truly mean and what they truly think and share their opinions, and we can't like come together and actually talk, because when we do actually speak the truth and speak with each other and speak our opinions, it actually brings us closer. Okay, you can't have a relationship without honesty. You can't. So just be who you are, be a bold Christian, and please welcome me to the family. Okay, I am a Christian. Woohoo! I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I want to be discipled, which means like disciplined. You know, I want to be somebody that people look to as an example. I want to be your daughter's role model. Okay, I want to be my daughter's role model. I don't have a daughter, but you know, if I did, my little cousins, like everybody, I want to be that. And so I'm declaring that now, that I am a Christian, and I'm not an afraid Christian, and I'm not going to tiptoe around other Christians because I don't think I'm good enough. Like, no, baby girl, I am a Christian, and whatever that entails, it can be a little messy sometimes because I'm a human being as well, but luckily, you know, God and His grace is always with me, and that's what it means to be a Christian. Like, it's not about being perfect, but it is about being bold, and it is about being sure of who you are. There's a verse that has been bothering me for a little while, and it's so funny because someone actually sent it to me today, but it's James chapter 1 verse 6. The verse is actually James 1:23. So it says, anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror, and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. So basically it's saying like you look in the mirror and you don't even know who you're looking at, because it's like who is that person, you know? And that was definitely my life. Like, I would be one person one day and I would act like somebody else, and I was just torn between like these two personalities that I had, almost like one that wanted to love and trust God and do every single thing that He said and stick up for the fact that no, I'm not comfortable doing these things anymore, even if it's going to make other people uncomfortable hearing that, or make them feel kind of, you know, like I might be convicting them or something for what they're doing. It doesn't matter, because I need to stick to what is going to keep me safe, you know, because it was getting to a point where I was hurting myself. Like, I was getting myself into bad situations, and I was allowing it because I didn't know who I was when I looked in the mirror. And I feel like that also is like what people would see when they looked at me too. It's like one part of me they would see is like wanting to be a Christian, and another part of me, they knew that I could be swayed into doing these different things, these bad things, these sinful things, you know, like these worldly things. So I'm just really excited to wear the title. I'm about to wear the title Christian like never before, and I'm just gonna stand up for it, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it means that I gotta switch up on people, because I do. There's definitely people in my life where I've like played this little part where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do these things with you, and now I have to be like, look, I'm sorry, I'm cutting it all off. Like, I am out of here. Like, we can't be doing this anymore. It's done. It's done. It's dead. That me has died. Okay. So I'm really excited, and this is something that I've struggled with pretty much the whole time, which I think I already said, but it gets better as time goes. And that's just how it is as a Christian. Like, you're walking and you're maturing every day. So let the time go, but just be proud in who you are and be proud of being a Christian. And I think once you really fully accept that that's your title, that's your role in life, that's who you're gonna be, that's what you're gonna stick up for, then you will be so happy, because I'm so happy. Like I said, the joy of my salvation and the joy in that moment was beautiful. Like I was praying, you know, I was like at this retreat, it was so beautiful. And I was praying and I had this little ring. It's like a metal ring and it has a cross on it, and I keep it on this finger because it's like a little bit bigger. And I was just like praying and looking at my hand, and then I moved it over to my ring finger, and it was just a little symbolic for me, kind of like, you know, like I'm married to God now. Like it's not just on my middle finger, it's on my commitment finger. Okay, we have a commitment. I'm committed to this life with the Lord. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love for you to subscribe. This channel is my main source of income right now, so if you would subscribe, that would be really great. And Jesus loves you so much, okay? I hope if you got anything out of this, please know that you don't have to be perfect. You could be extremely messy and confused and all over the place, and God will still love you, and He's the one that leads me and gets me to these higher places and matures me in my walk. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.